Are you a student that tries to balance between his studies, his physical and his mental health? Well, trying to juggle between these aspects can sometimes become a little bit too overwhelming. And as a student myself, I can confirm that. And that's where today's video comes in handy, because we're going to be discussing a concept called intuitive eating, which is a concept that if a student under stress follows, I'm pretty sure they would be ending up with better mental and physical health. Before we jump into the video, I want to introduce myself. I'm Muhammad Ahmed, a current AUC engineering student. And for the past year, I've been a little bit more concerned about what enters through my body. That's because if you think about the balance we just talked about earlier, the balance between studying and having a good physical health and mental health, you'd see that studying, well, it needs energy, and that energy comes from the food and drink we take. Good physical health, well, the first thing that will come to mind is the protein sources and the amount of the nutritional value of food, having a balanced diet, and so on and so forth. And lastly, the good mental health, well, if you're having a mental breakdown, if you're tired, the first thing that may come to your mind would be eating the comfort food you usually like, such as chocolates or whatever, it's milkshakes or whatever you might actually like. So if food is that important, you need to know how to eat properly, which is through intuitive eating. However, if you actually do want to know how to eat properly, don't you need first to know what's not making you eat properly as a student? So we as students, we usually experience a lot of stress. If you as a student feel stressed, know that you are not alone. According to a Gallup poll made with 2,400 college students, 66% have answered that they experience stress, while 51% answered that they have a feeling of being worried throughout the day. Moreover, according to the American Dietetic Association, people when feeling stressed or depressed will usually tend to overeat or undereat, and that's where the problem starts. For the overeating part, I myself experienced that. During times of exams or times of stress, I usually would have gotten any overdosed sugary or caffeinated frappe there would be. Anything that would give me a little bit of boost of energy, that would be already in my hand. And that wasn't correct at all. However, there is a scientific reasoning behind overeating when stressed. Because when you're stressed, there is a chemical called cortisol, basically a hormone that helps protect your body during times of stress. That hormone increases consumption of food and therefore increases the storage of fats inside your body. So, in other words, more stress, more munchy, more fats. If we focused on overeating, especially sugary foods, we'd find that a study in Frontiers in Psychology suggested that overeating sugary foods or having a diet high in sugars would actually lead to a worse memory and a worse attention time span, which both are kind of actually needed in studying. While another study in the American Journal of Health Promotion suggested that high consumption of sugar would actually lead to depression and anxiety. So, anxiety and stress leading to more consumption of sugars, which leads to more depression and anxiety, and it's a never-ending cycle. However, not all people go around into this circle, as some people actually go into a way opposite dilemma, which is undereating. According to Dallman's study published in Appetite, when a person is stressed, this high level of stress can actually disrupt normal hunger cues, leading to a decreased appetite and a decreased food intake. Moreover, a second research made in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, it found that students facing high levels of academic stress, they suggested that they have started experiencing differences in eating patterns, which usually is a decrease in food consumption. So the big question is, how do we solve this problem? How can we as students under stress neither overeat nor undereat and maintain our focus on studies and not on the calorie deficit and all these types of things they're putting out now on the internet? Well, one way I really do find interesting is through intuitive eating. Basically, in like very simple terms, intuitive eating is like if you're hungry, eat. Now you're eating and you feel kind of full, or you already have you've gotten your energy to continue your day normally. Stop eating. You're thirsty. Drink. You're not thirsty. You don't need to drink. So it's more about listening to what your own body, your physical body, calls to you, how it calls out to what you want, what it needs. However, let's look at the 10 principles of intuitive eating one by one. So these principles, the 10 principles of intuitive eating are, the first two would be to stop listening to all these different diet plans that are going around, the calorie deficit, the keto, the whatever diet. Stop listening to them. And the second point would be to actually start listening more to your body and to your stomach. Like your stomach tells you you're hungry, and go eat. Make a good relation with food. Make a good relation with your stomach. Don't make yourself way too hungry, or don't go way too full. Have a good relation with your body. The third and the fourth point would be that you shouldn't ban foods from your diets completely, as this would make your cravings towards them way too strong, maybe even way too strong for you to handle. The fourth would be that you should eat the food that will make you physically and emotionally satisfied, not only physically, not only emotionally. So whatever you feel like eating, you should just not you shouldn't ban yourself from eating, and also you should care about the physical nutritional needs you need. The fifth principle that follows this is that when you feel full, you should no longer exceed that limit. You should no longer eat. With the sixth being, you should avoid any negative thoughts to yourself. Imagine there's a negative thought police, a police that in your head that's always going on with negative thoughts about certain foods or whatever. If that's happening, you should always avoid these thoughts. Seventh, you should avoid emotional eating. Don't eat based only on your emotion, because that won't resolve anything. Eighth point would be is to respect your own body. So when you feel hungry, you actually should go eat, and that's kind of similar to the second point. The ninth principle would be is you should be active and move a lot and feel yourself while you're actually moving. Don't just focus on burning the calories. Feel your surroundings, feel yourself. Focus on yourself and on the walk you're actually walking. Then the last principle is that you don't actually need to eat perfectly to be in a healthy diet, but it's the food that you consistently eat is what matters. So make sure that it's good in taste, suits your culture, and good for your well-being. So to wrap things up, if you're a student that cares both about his health and his academic studies, I totally recommend you to start intuitive eating. Just by starting out with putting the 10 principles into your mind and starting to act upon them, you'll find a huge change in your life instead of counting your calories or trying to find the perfect diet for you. Just put these 10 principles into your mind and they'll come off naturally in the future. If you want to actually learn how to study properly, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification button, because that's coming in a future upload. Bye bye guys.